Good morning, I'm Melanie. This is the third time that I've been here. Every time has been amazing. To me, it's been really cool because my first trip was 4 years ago, and it's been amazing to see what God has done on the island, what God has done for the clinic. I love to come and serve the people, but also I feel really called to be an encouragement to the ministry staff that's on the ground, because we come in and we do this for a week and we go back to our regular lives, but they do this every single day. Every single day. And I think sometimes it's really easy to feel like maybe you're not seen, that God's forgotten you. And I think it's important for us to pour into that, to let them know that they're seen and that God is also involved in their ministry. And I think it's so humbling that we get to be a part of that. It was a great week. Yeah, I mean, every single day there's been things that I won't forget. Yesterday, probably though, it was Oscar, the interpreter, because after he came up to me on Monday and he had been at church on Sunday, and he says, "You a preacher, and this week I task you to make sure that you're checking on their spiritual health." And so yesterday was the first day that he was actually interpreting for me continuously. And so that's like the business that we got down to. We took care of the headache, the parasite, the stomach ache, the constipation, all 16 of their things. And then we'd say, "So how are you with the Lord?" And so, the Bible tells us that some people plant the seeds and some people water the seeds, and then God harvests those. And yesterday we were able to see all three of those things in that process. The first lady that we talked to actually accepted Christ. So we walked her through the prayer of salvation. And then we wrote a note and let the people know so that the pastor could come in and meet with her. There were a couple people where we also planted the seed. One was asking questions, but they weren't willing. They knew. They get up and go to church at 4:00 in the morning on every morning. That's when they do their church service. And one of them had a friend that takes her. And so we know that people have been placed in that prison to be able to help do God's work. But that's kind of what it's all about. So I would challenge all of my team members, like, this isn't about us. It's not something to check off of our bucket list. It's not that we're doing this to be good people. It's that God led us here, each one. He drew each one of us here for whatever reason. And the reason for me is different than the reason for Paul, the reason for Albert. And I think that we would just be neglectful of the huge responsibility that he placed upon us if we left here and didn't take some time to ask, what I need to know, what do you need to know, what is God showing us about these people, about ourselves, about his economy. We're not any better off than these people are. We've just been called to live a different life. They're just as one phrase that I won't ever forget is this little guy, and we said something about riding your bike. He's like, "Bicicleta? No me tengo." He says, "Bicycle? I don't have one." And he just kept going on. But it was the way that he said it. And it's like a kid in the States would have been so sad, but it was just like, it's just a way of life. And they're just as happy and just as blessed as we are. We have bigger responsibilities, I think, because we've been blessed with so much more. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming, for your encouragement, for your wisdom, and for your spiritual health. And thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yes, so my name is Teresa Wolf, and I would say, well, first of all, I wanted to thank Larry and Monica. I know you guys have been trying to get us to come out here for a few years now. And, life gets busy, work, family, everything, right? But we were talking about this, and you just have to make time and come out here if you want to make a difference. And I also wanted to thank the medical staff, everybody who's been here. Obviously we don't have that expertise, but couldn't do it without you. So thank you. And thank you for being selfless. And I would say just this whole week, every day has been so unique. I mean, just something different every day. It's, starting at the island, the elderly people, there were some women who really needed like that immediate attention. And it's sad to see that they don't get that, right? And so being able to get them in quickly. You could see the relief on their face. Going up to the village in the mountain, the children, that just was so heartwarming to see the smile on their faces. I mean, just the little things in life that, you know, we may or may not take for granted at times. Crayons, coloring books, dresses, right? So that was very impactful, and the elderly people were just so precious. And yeah, it was amazing. I would say yesterday for me was the most momentous piece of it all. We went to church service in the morning, myself and Ian and Albert, and as Ian said, the women, their voices, the choir was just so beautiful, so touching. But there was something there that was beyond us, the Holy Spirit, and you could feel it. And we had a chance to get up and say a few words to about 300 women. You could just see you could see and feel the love there in that room. And towards the end, they came through. We handed out drinks and snacks, and I had a few ladies just come up to me and they just wrapped their arms around me. And I wrapped my arms around them and we just cried together. But, you know, I think what they really need, they need the prayers. They need the hope. They needed a hug. And they need that love. And God is love. And so I'm just so grateful to be here, to witness and experience everything that we were able to accomplish this week. And I hope we can come back. But yeah, this is just, it's been wonderful. So thank you.
Hello, hey, I'm Paul. This is my 5th trip. My first trip was in 2018. So I've got to see a lot of things change in the country, on the island. It's just been exciting to see what God's been able to do in the last 8 years. We've got to see a great deal of diversity. We've seen things that have gone on the island, things that have grown, the needs that are there, that are always going to be there, but the people are so wonderful. And the ability to use skills you didn't even know you had is pretty cool. I think the young ladies had, I mean, I can't imagine that being your first trip and everything you've gotten to experience. But then we went from the island, you know, because we thought that day was just the coolest. And the next day we went to, help me out here.
The island second time.
I mean the 3rd day after we get done with the island.
Jicalapa.
Yeah, so the whole scene changed. We went up some pretty cool roads. We saw a lot of nice beaches going by, and then we pulled up into this little village with just people anxiously waiting for us. And, you know, just instantly swapped. I brought a few bags of sunglasses with me, and instantly was the most popular guy in town. So, you know, I'm a photographer, and the people's faces just, So we went from that bit of diversity to visiting some elderly people the next day. And again, we had a box of glasses, and I got swarmed. You know, we didn't have a single pair to bring home. And just the smiles and the fun they were having. They were playing some great music and dancing while we were trying to get our stuff done. And again, new skill sets. Just you really can't explain a whole lot of what went on, because God was just pouring it all out. And then the next day, wow. You know, the prison, we all didn't know what to expect. You know, I think one person had been there before. That was hard to process. You might have to come back for round 2. As you were praying with these people, you could feel God in their hands. You could feel the Holy Spirit working. You'd feel so much sorrow. But we were there to share the love of Christ.
My name's Ian, and it was an experience I've never had before. I've been all over the world. I've seen a lot of different cultures. I've been to some very poor countries, but never had the opportunity to be able to work in a medical mission and be able to focus solely on that. It was always a different type of mission. But so the experience and the takeaway for this trip for me personally, the island was very, very poor. I mean, everybody there on that island was very poor. It was very sad to see the conditions they were in, but you wouldn't know it talking to them because you know they don't know what they don't have. But I mean, honestly, you really can't compare what the lifestyle that they had to what we have, obviously, because it's not about things, it's not about stuff. It's really about having faith in the Lord, and I think you could see that in them, and you could see that the Holy Spirit was definitely working through them, and what the improvements that have been made on the island throughout the past 10 years, Dr. Miller, with you and your team, has been phenomenal. And you can definitely see the positive, the bright, positive outlook that they have on their life there on that island. And to see the doctors here, these doctors are phenomenal. To see them work and to see what they do and the difference they make. I mean, it's not just their skill set and their background and their knowledge. It's they bring the love of our Lord Jesus Christ with them, and just having that combination is just very powerful. Going on to the mountain village, Jicalapa, something. I'll get it eventually, one of these days. But that was phenomenal. The switchbacks. I mean, some of the others have talked about it. That was pretty, pretty courageous on us to be able to go up those very, very steep inclines to get up there. But it was very rewarding to see the bright smiles on those young children and the villagers there at that town. And then moving on to the elderly people, they were just so happy and wonderful to talk to. I mean, I spoke Spanish to them as best I could. Monica probably corrected me like 500 times, but they just had the brightest smile, and they had just so much love for us. And it's like, wow, it was very overwhelming. And we got out there and danced a little bit with them and had some fun. That was a good time. And then to top it off, yesterday with the prison visit and those young women and what they were having to go through, what they went through to get there, I have no idea. We don't know. But the church service was phenomenal to be able to see them praise the Lord through music and singing. And it was probably the best choir I've ever heard. It really was. And their voices were beautiful. The music was wonderful. Everyone was just so gracious, and it didn't matter if they had gang symbols on their tattoos on their body or whatever. They didn't care. They were just very humble and thankful for us being there. And I'm sure somebody there yesterday at the prisons met her, but she came up to me and she said, "Thank you so much," in English. Yeah. And she said, "I lived in New York for 14 years." Did you meet her?
I had a patient not from New York.
Yeah, she said, "I lived in New York for 14 years. I said, "Your English is really good." I said, "Yeah, it's because I lived in New York for 14 years. I was like, "What? Okay, why are you here?" That threw me for a loop. didn't have a chance to actually, sit there and talk to her because we're leaving. It was right at the very end. So, but just to be able to communicate to some of them and kind of not really ask very personal stuff about why they were there. I just to kind of get an idea of how they were doing in their faith and making sure that they were strong in their faith, considering the circumstances that they were in. They seem to be very hopeful, knowing that someday, hopefully, that most of them, I think, will eventually be able to get out. Maybe not all, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel that they can see. So,
Thank you so much, Ian.
yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Marvin Bass. Having been a physician for many years, I've seen a lot of things. But probably the most impactful thing that I saw was yesterday in the prison. And the realization that how fortunate and blessed most of us are, and that we don't realize how some people live their lives and the circumstances that put them there. For whatever reason, I think providing them with care, albeit just medical care that is not to par with, first world countries, is all we could do. But I think it's more than they could ever imagine, and being in that situation is for me would be horrific. And yet for the people who are in there, you speak to them, and they've been in there 10, 15 years. They seem at peace at times with their situation. I met a girl there. She was 26 years old. She was born here, lived in the United States for 25 years, was deported from the States, and they put her in prison here. And now she's been here, I forgot for how long. How many? 6 months, that's right. It's just unfortunate that it is what it is, but God puts someone and everyone in a certain place for a certain reason who may not know what it is. As far as the other communities, as everybody said, I think it's just an awakening to realize how blessed we all are, and also how blessed they are, because from what I've seen, that they're very grateful, very happy for the most part, and they're content with what they have, and they're very thankful when they get anything, get any type of service or any type of a gift. And for us, it's a very small gift, but for them, it's immense. Yeah.
We thank you so much for coming. Let me ask you a question. We sort of ran into each other out of the blue, and by that I mean almost everybody we've had with us come before knew me or Monica or our group, and we just got a call from you one day that you're interested in coming. I thought, wow, I mean, talk about God putting somebody in our path that's so impactful to us. How did you find us?
I wanted, this is my first mission. I never did a mission. Things change in your life, you grow, right? You're supposed to grow. But, I don't think we can ever stop growing. I think internally, right, spiritually, and I just wanted to go on a missionary trip and experience something else that I felt I needed to do. Yeah. So I just randomly looked up missionary trips, and I saw Christ for the City International. I said, yeah, that's the one I want to go on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was something of God.
Yeah.
God sent you to us. Thank you so much.
So, my name's Steve. This is my third trip to El Salvador, second trip with Larry and Monica. The thing I love about these mission trips is being part of a group with a common purpose and a difficult mission to accomplish. I love that everybody has different skills. This was a wonderful group. People brought their individual talents. There were people here with just a wonderful sense of humor, kept us laughing. There are people with just tremendous compassion and kindness, people with good medical skills. And this is something that I miss when I was in the Army and when I was in private practice with a medical group. Again, we had some very difficult missions to accomplish, and for the most part, everybody did their part, and it was just such a satisfying feeling to be part of a group like this. There is a lot of fun practicing mission medicine, third world, limited resource medicine. Kind of goes back to medical school when we learned our history and physical, and we're told that we should be able to diagnose about 85% of the problems on history and physical alone. We can't depend on many lab tests, we can't depend on x-rays or CT scans, and we have to use our brains to make a diagnosis and treat. The thing that I remember, or a patient that stood out, was a very elderly patient. Her husband was very elderly. He was stooped over, had a limp, walked to our clinic on the first day, and said his wife was back at their hut, essentially, was not walking, was incoherent, and you could just tell the love and the concern he had for his wife. He, again, was physically disabled, but would carry her to the outhouse. He'd carry her from the bed, from the hammock, essentially, is what she slept in, to whatever chair. And you can just tell the love and concern he had for her. So making that house call and seeing what condition she was in, that we adjusted her medications and hoped to give him a little comfort and even a little rest. He was not sleeping because she was demented and she had mental illness. It was keeping him awake all night, so he was getting no sleep. So again, this woman, not a whole lot medically that we could do, but by taking care of her, we could take care of him. And I've mentioned to a couple of group members before, there was a saying, it was attributed to either Hippocrates or one of his students, that in medicine we have to remember that we can cure sometimes, we can relieve often, and we can comfort always. And I think that's something that you have to remember on the mission work, is we can always do something for our patients. So third trip here, I'd love to come back again. And thank Larry for all he's doing for people.
Oh, Dr. Steve, we're so happy to have you because he's a very humble man. He's been in some very tough places in Ukraine. How many mission trips have you taken to Ukraine?
4 to Ukraine and the B5 in this coming July.
5 trips to Ukraine. You know, very few doctors in the world would do that, to go in the middle of a war battle zone and take care of people. So we honor you. We thank you for what you've done for the Lord. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come back with us again. You've been a huge part of this, and we thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Sarah. This experience showed me so much that I wasn't aware of, such as the people, their living situation here and their health situations here, and I'm so grateful that we were able to come out and help. And a thing that touched my heart was just seeing all the little kids that aren't in their best environment and aren't in the most happy or comforting environment, but they still have smiles on their face and they're still so excited to see us and so happy to see us. And it's just awesome when people believe in that and people come to you and they depend on you for that care, and we're able to provide that. So that was one thing that really touched me. But I had a really nice time. It was very comfortable for me. Staying on the beach the first 2 days were really nice. Staying where we are now is really nice.
Thank you.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit of a story or something that touched you from the prison?
From the prison. Yeah, the prison was really, I will say it was easier because one girl knew English, American English, so that was easier to communicate with her. But I noticed when I looked at the women, they just kept smiling. And that kind of made me feel a little awkward because that's like, okay, stop looking at me. But then it was also like, I'm so happy that we can bring that care to you, and I'm so happy that we can bring that comfort to you. And I could just tell, like, there was just something so different about seeing us and feeling our energy, kind of. So I think we really made their day, and that was very nice.
Thank you.
I'm Molly. I'd say the most impactful thing was probably the prison, and just seeing like their living conditions. I would have never imagined it, I guess. It was almost kind of hard to like look at it just because it was so something I've never seen anything like that before. And so, I don't know, that was just really mind-blowing about how people live and at the fact that they don't know exactly when they're gonna get out. But it was really cool to see all the kids and their faces light up when we brought them gifts and stuff like that. But yeah. There was a lady who came up to us in the prison, Kimmy and I, and she said she had been in there for a year and she was hoping to get out in a couple days, but she didn't know her time. So she said that she was a believer and she just had faith that in a few days she was going to get out to see her 10-year-old and her 3-year-old, right? But then she was just said that her cell was very appreciative of us and they really appreciate us coming and our time here. And she was like, I know this is horrible, or the prison sucks, or something like that.
Oh.
But
Thank you so much, Mom.
Thank you.
I'm Cammie. This week I specifically enjoyed Wednesday. That was the mountain village. We went up to a mountain village, and it was a little sketch to get up there. But once we did, everybody there was so welcoming, and the kids were so happy to see us, and we had so many toys, and they loved it. And then after we had our little clinic, we went to have lunch, and then after lunch we went to the school where we pass out glasses and dresses and toys, and they just loved it. I love seeing all the kids light up, and they were so grateful, and it really just reminds us to count our blessings, because even with so little they were so happy and grateful. At the senior center there was this man he spoke pretty good English, but I don't know, he just had this light to him. He was just so happy, and so happy we were there, and so friendly. So, yeah.
Good morning, I'm Albert Wolf. This is my first time here. Started out with just going down, getting in the boats, going down the mangroves, getting to the island was all an experience for me, being here this first time. So I was trying to just get into the feel of it, and then the feeling of just being there to do something and away from the hustle and bustle of the big city or what you normally do was very good and very helpful for me from that standpoint. And then moving on to the elderly people, which was quite an experience. And working in the pharmacy was an experience, and then I got into it, and it worked real well. And yeah, I don't remember her name, but she was really good. She's a superstar as far as I was concerned. And then going to the prison was a real experience, and I haven't been to one. So, but to be there, and when they had the church service, myself, my son, my daughter-in-law, we were all there. That was very outstanding there. Got to speak to them and talk to them and tell them about Jesus. And so that's where I came from and felt really good with myself. So.
Okay, now my beautiful wife that I have to give a lot of credit for the success of this trip to, and she always has great wisdom for me and for our whole group. And thank you, Monica. Tell us a little bit about your trip this time.
My name is Monica, and this is going to be our 10th year that we have been serving in El Salvador. Overall, just when I go back about, 15 years ago, I engaged in a journey with God about trying to get closer and find Him, a relationship that was more clear to me who He was, how He loved me, and how to understand His will in my life. It was just a journey that I was on for about 2-3 years before I met Larry. Although my idea when I was working at the base, in Air Force Base, Randolph, I met a lot of people that were doing missions, and I thought of myself, when my children are grown, that's what I want to do. I just wanted to do missions. But through that journey with God, I just asked Him over and over during prayer in a whole week of silence retreats that I was doing. I did about 3 of them. Nothing came clear to me, like what was my purpose other than raising my kids, right? And I just didn't get it clear. Raising children, that's my purpose, right? I just wanted something else, and I just was paying attention. Anyhow, I met Larry, and he was just, amazing. I didn't know he was a doctor. I thought he was a pilot. And I saw he going to Haiti, and I thought, wow, this is incredible. What a wonderful man that gives his time to travel and to do missionary work and to know more about it. I see more and more in the United States, people are being missionaries, are being in service, things I was not familiar with, to take your time and to meet people that are just using your own resources to come in and serve. And it's just impressive, it's really, really nice. So moving forward, all these 10 years have been about that. My journey and my faith have grown because I see God in people's faces. And my main mission is to take care of this man, to keep the center, because he has a heart of giving and compassion. And sometimes I had to play the devil's advocate because there are so many things that happen through our times serving that we had to choose and balance things. Somebody can come and they need $4,000 of surgery. You know how many people I can feed for $4,000, or how much medicine I can buy with $4,000 for more people? You just have to balance some of the things, and we make a decision very early on, that we were gonna serve in a project globally, like with benefit. So we cannot put all the resources to individuals, which breaks our hearts, because there's many people that need, those $4,000 surgery, or going to the States and it will cost $10,000 for having medical care in the States, or things like that. So we can focus, or you can save the world. We can focus on one thing. We choose the island because, like you say, they have nothing. The only thing they have is God. It's like in the prisons, you have nothing. So we choose the very early. We were not bringing to prisons yet. Very early we choose the island because they don't have transportation, they don't have medical care, they don't have, basically anything. And you never get to meet the people that have scars in their hands, because they're out there, their job is just pick up shells and clams and crabs and stuff like that. So they really have scars for their work they do. So that's why we choose the island. And going, looking back today when Larry was repairing everything, with the water, everything was working. God just sent him because the whole thing is working pretty good. You know, we have few little things here and there that we had to maintain. After a few people that we went through, we find somebody that seems to be good, doing good, and God takes control of everything. And that's one of the things I have through my journey, finding out that God will take care of it. We just have to step in and say yes to whatever. You know, we never thought we were gonna put a water plant. We never thought we were gonna put a clinic. And here are donors coming to us, hey, I wanna help you. I have this money for this, and I have this money for that, which is incredible. I mean, your friend Eric gave us a motor that helped as an ambulance going back and forth to land from the island, taking women out of the island to give birth to their babies, because before we arrived was 10 babies were dying at birth a year, 10 babies a year. That was the statistics of the island. Once we arrived there, it was 1 to 3 children and 0. Nobody dies at birth anymore. So that's really what the impact of our work has done. That's basically a story that we always gonna share, because that was very impactful for us. That was really what marked our journey as missionaries in the island. Being able to do that and continue to have a doctor and we had gone to about 8 or 10 doctors. For one reason or another, it hasn't worked like permanently. So now we have Pastor Scott's brother, which is a doctor, who goes over there only on his days off, which is Saturday. So that has been really good. God sent him, and God knows how much we struggle to have a doctor over there. And I still pray that we can send somebody who wants to take a whole year of service there, because it will be very impactful. You know, there's so many things that potentially they can do. But this week, coming forward, just watching how we always worry about people that we know, our neighbors here. I was nervous about it because I don't know how it will work. We know them very well, but getting off our comfort zone, like, okay, I'll see you later, bye, just dinner, and we'll see you. Now we're getting to get to know each other more. You hear me snoring, and I hear you laughing or whatever. In a good mood and bad mood, your hat, and you have mosquito bites, so I get to know you more. So it was really, really nice to get to know them more in this comfortable field. But getting to know your girls and having Dr. Mervyn, new faces, that is really, really nice, because every trip we get to meet new souls, new people. We get to know more of how God is just put it in our heart to do for others. Used to be a common purpose, and finding that purpose is tough sometimes. Larry, he was 5 years old and he found his purpose. Like, who wants that? God just chose him to do that, and that's amazing. So that's just impressive for me. It's just being a mentor and a guide and everything, and just to find that my journey with God and my own personal relationship with him, and finding that purpose in my heart is just a development. Like you say, we keep on growing and keep on growing, and every year is different. And having to experience that this time with all of you is really good experience, and never changes. It makes you grow, and we should never stop growing. Just coming back, we appreciate that, because it was always gonna be a mission trip. There's always gonna be a country or a place that you can serve, but God put us here, and it's just incredible that we've gone 10 years with serving and the way we have done it. And people has called the headquarters to complain about us. Don't you think that we don't get a kickback over there? They have complained about us, and we have improved it. For the last probably 2 years, things have improved a lot. You guys are just being pampered a lot this trip. You had no idea how it was back then. Sleeping in the dorm with air condition, and sleeping with other people, and the mosquitoes, and dirt all over, this dust and everything. So we had gone through a lot for you. So that's the work that we did for you is going to be improving, and it's good, because that makes you come back. Some people like Eric and Mary Jo, they would never come back because they had just bad experience. And it's what it is. They just support us, which is fine. We welcome the support, and that's okay. But The prison yesterday, I really wanted to say that that's really hard. Every single time I come to the prison, it's something in my heart that moves in, because a lot of people, if you go to TikTok, you find a lot of people that talks really bad about the president, which you find the 5% who hates them, right? Because 95% approves of him. President Bukele, like Larry says, they hate him, and these people talks how bad it is. Now I understand once I go to the prison. Why? Because, not that I believe this, the girls are innocent. Most of them that I talk to, they're innocent and they have it here because the president has them there. That's what they say, right? I'm not believing that 100%. Maybe I have a little doubt. But the main thing is the conditions, the basic needs, they're being deprived. You know, basically, the diet they have is just disgusting, and that makes them constipated, and that makes them sick. And that is upsetting, you know, that not being able, when it's so simple, the way that, you know, if we have control of it, we will do it different. Everybody here will contribute to something positive for them conditions to do that. It will not cost anything to the government to do it better. And you know, the way they sleep, you know, and the scabies, can you just imagine all this stuff that is contagious in there, breathing on top of each other, you know, that is just two of the things that really bothers me, that they have no purpose. How do you give them purpose in these conditions? You know, it's like the island, how do you give them purpose? I found this child in Jicalapa, in Jicalapa, and he was 19. And I was just so happy for him. I said, oh, I just graduated from high school. I said, that's wonderful. So what are you going to do? Like you always ask every 18 years, so what are you going to do? I'm going to this college, I'm going to do this, I'm going to work on that. He had no clue. No clue. And I'm talking about Jicalapa. He had no clue what he was going to do with his life. He had no goal. He had no purpose. And mom is raising him alone and asking him to help her in selling food in the street, basically. And that breaks my heart, because it reflects the youth of the Salvador. If they don't have a purpose and they don't have, what a waste of intelligence and strength, you know, because I'm sure that he does have it. So I went through a lot of things with him. Okay, so would you like medicine? Do you like to see blood? Do you like this? I mean, I went through so many things, and he finally said, maybe cars. I kind of like to repair cars. So I give him a little thing and I pray for him just to think about it. And I don't know if that impacted or not, but that's how I feel the God have us here. Just to put a seed in people's heart and think about the purpose and think about how God can use them. If I can just do a little bit of that, I think that is worth to the whole.